Good morning, students. So we are doing the chapter 4 games we play, and we have finished the question answers and a couple of exercises about idioms and phrasal words. Now moving on. So today's topic will be relative pronouns. I have uploaded the video in the app, so kindly go through it and also complete this exercise. So this will be your homework. Okay, and moving on, we'll see the poem Those Winter Sundays. So this poem was written by Robert Hayden. Robert Hayden is an American author. In this poem, he shared his experiences and his relationship with his father when he was a child. How his father treated him and how he treated his father. Okay, so let's quickly read the poem. Sundays too, my father got up early and put his clothes on in the blue-black cold. Then with cracked hands that ached from labor in the weekday weather made banked fires blaze. No one ever thanked him. So in this first stanza, Robert Hayden, when he was a child, even on Sundays also, his father used to get up early in the morning in the blue-black cold. Blue-black means in winters, early morning, even before the sun rises. When you look at the sky, it looks very dark. And you can also feel the cold winds. So his father used to get up early in the morning and with cracked hands that ached. So he was a very hard worker. He works as a laborer, and even though his hands were paining, ached means painful. Even though his hands were paining, he used to get up and banked fires blaze. Banked means using coal, piling up all the coal and the wood to make the fire. And no one ever thanked him. But nobody never thanked his father. In the second stanza, I would wake and hear the cold splintering breaking. When the rooms were warm, he would call, and slowly I would rise and dress, fearing the chronic angers of that house. So in the second stanza, Robert Hayden says that when the rooms were warm, his father used to wake him up and he would slowly rise and put on his dress. But he still used to have the fear of chronic angers. Chronic means repeated, continuous angers of that house. Angers means probably the other members of the family. They might be arguing or shouting, or they might be quarrels in the house. So he used to fear to get up early in the morning. He used to have this fear that he might have to hear some kind of arguments or quarrels in the house. Speaking indifferently to him who had driven out the cold and polished my good shoes as well, what did I know of love's austere and lonely offices? So, Robert Hayden was very indifferent. Indifferent means he was never close to his father who had driven out the cold. How did he drive the cold out? By putting the fire. And also his father used to polish his shoes. But he said that as a child he never he could not appreciate his father, though he was taking care of him by polishing his shoes. And also love's austere. Love's austere means very simple life, not very rich. And lonely offices. Here offices is referred to his father. Why do people go to office? They go to office to serve other people. So in the same way, his father, though he is very lonely or alone, he used to take up his responsibility as a father. He used to take care of his son. And as a child, Robert Hayden he could not understand the love and affection his father showed on him. So this is the story. So as when he grown up, Robert Hayden has written his poem that he never appreciated his father. He regrets even today that he never thanked his father for the love and care or affection he has showered on Robert when he was a child. I hope you have understood this poem. Very simple poem. And your work for today will be write the glossary in the copy. I think first poem we did not do it, but start from this poem. Write the glossary words and question answers I'll send you. Let's skip this think and answer. We are not doing it. And coming to poem appreciation. Last time we have learnt about rhyming scheme. Now today we will see what internal rhyme means. When two or more words within the line of a poem rhyme, we call it internal rhyme. So it means rhyme scheme we have seen the last words of each line. If they rhyme, we call it as a rhyming scheme. But internal rhyme means if there are two or more words rhyming in the same line, we call them as internal rhyme. Let's see if anything is rhyming. First line, there is no rhyme. Even second line, I don't see any internal rhyme. If you look at the fifth line, banked, thanked. So these two are rhyming in the same line. So these, we call it as an internal rhyme. You can check for remaining stanzas as well. Now, how does the poet create rhythm in this poem? Explain with examples. I think poet did not make any rhyming scheme. He did not follow any particular pattern. But if you look at the last line, what did I know, what did I know? This is what he tried to create at the end of the poem. Now the next question, describe the mood of the poem. How is the mood of the poem? In the first line, the child says that his father is very hardworking. So he appreciated his father. He understood how hard his father worked. And in the second stanza, the poet expresses a little fear because there are other members of the family who used to often fight and quarrel with each other. In the third, again, he regrets himself because he never thanked his father and he was very indifferent to him. And he never realized that his father took care of him after doing so much of hard work. So this is the mood of the poem. You can say the mood of the poem shifts from each stanza. It's not the same in the entire poem. And also the poet feels very sorrowful. Sorrowful means very sad. He regrets even today that he never thanked his father. He never understood his father's hard work. The poet uses symbols in this poem. What do the symbols fire and shoes stand for? So fire, you can say when you light a fire, what happens? It gives light. So fire indicates light and shoes indicate what happens when you polish your shoes? They shine. So these are the symbols. Fire and shoes, they represent light and shining. When poet makes non-humans behave like humans, they use the art of personification. So this personification, earlier internal rhyme or rhyming scheme, personification, they are imagery. All these words we call as poetic devices. They are used by poets to express their feelings or emotions. Now personification means when poet makes non-humans behave like humans. For example, things. When things behave like, or we compare things to behavior of human beings, we call it as personification. You can see the examples here, but easy example I would like to give is the lightning dances in the sky. So here lightning dance is only done by humans, right? It's a human behavior. So lightning can't dance, but still we are comparing the lightning. Lightning is not a human thing, whereas dancing is a human thing. So compare non-human behavior to that of a human behavior. We call it as personification. Find examples of personification in this poem. So we'll understand personification by reading through the poem. Let's see if there are any non-human behavior which compares to human behavior. Look at this one. Angers of that house. Can house become angry? No, it can never become angry. But we are comparing anger, the emotion of a human being, to that of a non-living thing. Okay, so this one is one personification. And other one is lonely offices. Office is a building. A building cannot be lonely. A human, yes, a person can be lonely, can feel lonely. So offices, they don't have any feelings, but still the poet compared offices to loneliness. Loneliness is a human behavior. It's compared to a non-living thing. This is what is called personification. I hope you understood this concept. Now moving on. What are the word pictures created by the poet in this poem? Explain the purpose they serve in communicating the meaning of the poem. Word pictures. What can you say the word pictures here? Like your imagination. What can you imagine? What kind of pictures that come into your mind when you read this poem? Explain the purpose they serve in communicating the meaning. I think you can find out from this poem. Try to find out. And coming to your next chapter, I want you to read this chapter when we meet the next time. Okay, when the guavas are ripe. Okay, thank you.